We're now being joined on the news at 10 by Reverend Shukbo Ayokunle, the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, to throw more light on the celebration of Christmas today. Many thanks indeed for coming on the news at 10. Now, Christmas is celebrated every year, that's a given, but what would you say is the significant aspect of the celebrations for this year?
Well, the significance of Christmas are very many. Number one, it is the demonstration of God's love for humankind that He created and who got lost in the garden through disobedience. But God, in His business of restoring man into relationship with them, had decided to send His only begotten Son to rescue us from the clutches of Satan and bring us back to the Creator through Jesus Christ, a reconciliatory effort through His coming, which is the beginning of the process of redemption for humankind. Number two, Christmas is a demonstration of sacrifice. For Jesus to come, He had to become, made Himself of no reputation. Being co-equal with God, he counted that not at this time when it was the wish of the Father to make Him to be like us, putting on human flesh in order to redeem human beings. So He made Himself of no reputation. He humiliated Himself. In theology, that is what we call self-humiliation. To become human beings, walk in the street, be limited like us, be insulted, etc., etc. That was the height of love. So Christmas is about the love of God. It's about the sacrifice of God and of the Son for us who got lost through disobedience.
So the love and sacrifice that you've just itemized, how much of that are we exhibiting individually as a country upon ourselves?
Well, this is where Nigerians, though we profess religion, we need to come into terms with the profession and the practice. In practice, we need to show more love for one another by being our brother's keeper. Not only just occupying position for the sake of self-aggrandizement, but for service to humanity. When you love another person, you will cater for his good. You will struggle to even deny yourself of many of your rights in order to make sure that life is good for another person. So all these forms of acts of corruption, selfishness that we see everywhere, we have to forsake in order to reflect properly the message of love which is in Christmas.
So I wonder how you would respond to this one, because a lot of people think that, for instance, say that whenever there is a crisis situation, people like yourself, clergymen, the office of the CAN president, which you occupy now, would often be called in to step into, to douse those kinds of tensions that we see. While some argue that that is what should be, others say that that is meddling with politics. How do you view that?
You know that opinions differ. The way people reason differ from one person to another. But in reality, the work of the Christian clergyman, number one, is peace building. Peace building between man and man, and between community and community, and peace building in this nation itself in generality. That is part of our work, but our work is not limited to that. Part of our work is also to speak to powers, to what is right. It is not meddling with politics. It is about being the voice of the voiceless. It's about all the people in authority, whether Christian or Muslim. They are our children in the Lord. They are under our leadership, spiritual leadership in the churches. So as fathers to the nation, it is our right, without fear or favor, to speak straight to them to do what is right. It's not meddling with politics. If you have your son in politics and you don't call your son to order, your son will spoil your family name. So it is our responsibility to speak to the situation in the nation. It's not about meddling with politics. The people should also not forget that we are part of the society over which these people rule. So if we don't speak to wrong political steps,
There'll be chaos.
then there will be problem on us also. It will affect the church.
You know, we could go on and have a very long, lengthy discussion about this. But let me ask you something just off the cuff, and that has to do with your views on the release of the former NSA, Sambo Dasuki, as well as the Revolution Now organizer Omoyele Sowore, who was just released by the government. What are your thoughts along that line?
It gladdens the heart. It also adds more credibility to the government. But they ought not to have spent that long time in detention in the first instance. Immediately the court ruled, that ruling ought to be obeyed. Because one of the tenets of democracy, which makes it work, is obedience to the rule of law. All court injunctions, directives, judgments must be obeyed, whoever you are. Otherwise, there will be a state of anomie, which is called a state of normlessness, a state of disorder, where everybody does whatever he likes.
Are we in that kind of state now when you consider that these two releases that happened just yesterday, and also the call for others who are still politically detained or perceived as being detained politically?
Well, we are not in the state of normlessness yet, because not all court orders are disobeyed. But we are saying, we are crying out so that we will not get into that state. It is a happy development, welcome development, that these two have been released, but let others be released as well. Let government get very erudite lawyers that can argue their cases for them against whoever they have cases, so that those people might be brought to judgment. But if we want people to be brought to judgment at our own terms without following the rule of law, then there may be miscarriage of justice, and there will also be disorderliness.
That's a good place to let it rest. I most sincerely thank you so much indeed for enlightening us on this very important day of Christmas, just so that we understand what it is we're doing and how we are heading out as a country. The president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Shukbo Ayokunle, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, Gemba. God bless you. Merry Christmas to you all Nigerians. It is well with you.